Thank y'all for your patience as I pull this together. Erikka, how you doing? Okay, so I am going to switch over and add Erikka in. Let's go. I want to thank y'all for joining this week. For most of you who already know me, hey Erikka.
Hey.
I'm slow to figuring all of this out, but we are getting it together.
You are. It looks like you got it together, girl.
I know, look at that.
Is it
So, double check on my end. Thank y'all for your patience as I pull this together for the first time on Facebook Live. I just want to make sure that it's actually showing your video,
I think
on Facebook.
Oh, right.
Okay, yes, it is. Perfect. All right. So, welcome everyone to What It Do Thursdays. This is the first time that we're doing this on Facebook Live. Y'all, yes. So, in this process of learning new technology, and I think this whole, the coronavirus is like forcing us all to like try new things, learn new things. And so I'm appreciative to Erikka for joining me. For people who are new to What It Do Thursdays, it's an opportunity for me to interview friends and people who I think are interesting, who are doing interesting things around health, business, and pop culture, talk about pop culture, and just try to keep it light, try to keep it fun. We join every Thursday at 8 p.m. Traditionally, it's been on Instagram, but this week we are doing it on Facebook. So let me see. There we go. So now I can, both of our screens are showing at the same time. So thank you. How you doing? How's life? How's the week?
It's busy, but today, Thursdays are my Fridays, which is lovely. So I'm so glad this week is done. It's been a long week, but it's good. How are you?
So I'm doing okay. I mean, so whew, yes, this has been a long week for me too. I actually took this morning off because I was just so exhausted.
Yeah.
But at my job, we have been coordinating bi-weekly teleconference calls with pastors, African American pastors across the state, and that's been a huge undertaking. And then also we're coordinating. We just got 2,000 masks donated to the Maya Angelou Center. So we're gonna gotta go pick them up on Friday and then disseminate them out. We're prioritizing people who are low income and seniors. So
that's really great. Yes. Kudos to you guys. That's awesome.
Thank you. So yeah, it's just been a lot. What are you planning to do for your weekend?
Well, I probably will be relaxing just a little bit, trying to do a little bit of self-care and trying to organize. I'm in the process of spring cleaning. So I'll be doing a little bit of that. Oh, and charting. There's always charting to do. I always have charting. For anybody who knows me, that's my side time. That's my side hustle, is charting.
Wait, so explain what that is, because I don't know what that is really.
Basically, so for those of you who don't know, I am a child and adolescent and adult psychiatrist. And now that we are in the COVID times, I've transitioned my practice essentially all the way over to virtual practice. And I spend about 8 to 9 hours per day on Zoom. And if I don't get all of my notes done in between patients, then that means I have the opportunity to do all of my notes at the end of the day. But sometimes at the end
Yeah.
of the day, I'm tired and done. And I'm like,
Right.
especially being on Zoom all day, I just cannot look at the computer screen anymore. So
And now I'm making you do
I had to
Zoom
go to
again.
and now I'm Zoom. That Zoom is the life. Let me tell you. So Zoom has a way of like telling you how many minutes you spend on Zoom. And
Oh,
it was like, congratulations, like you made it. And I'm like, wait, what does this actually mean? In the last month since April 5th or 6th, guess how many minutes I have been on Zoom?
I don't even like probably like 300 or something. I don't know how
Girl,
many.
15,000 minutes. 15,000 minutes on Zoom.
I thought 300 was high.
I was like,
I'm hoping you get paid for most of these minutes. You get paid for these minutes though, right?
oh, well, yeah, true. Most of them. Most of them.
Yeah.
But still, I was like, that's a lot of minutes on Zoom. Like,
Right.
I think I need some glasses. Normally I have 20/20 vision, but I'm like, I don't know if I will after all of this is said and done. So first thing I'm gonna do
I set up my computer so that it's like dark, so that it's not a white bright screen all the time. That
yeah,
way it like helps with your eyesight. Cause I'm the same way. I'm like looking at the screen all day, every day.
all day, every day. But it's different when you're able to be on with your friends. That is different.
Right. So, okay, so the part of the reason why I wanted to interview you was because you have your own practice now, Catalyst Therapeutics, which is amazing. And so now you're in what month are you in, and like how did you get started?
Absolutely. Well, first, thanks for having me. This is so cool. I'm like seeing all of your guests every week, and I'm like, this is amazing. I was like, wait a minute, you want me to be on? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm honored. Thank you. So long story short, I was at a place that should remain nameless, and I was stressed out. I felt like I did not have appropriate work-life balance, and I just decided a change needed to happen. So I decided that I was just going to quit my job with the support of my husband, and said, I really just can't do this. So I submitted my letter of resignation and gave it to my boss, and my boss said, so what are your plans after this? What are you going to do? And I was like, I absolutely have no idea. I don't have a single plan. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I just know I can't work here anymore.
Right.
And little did I know that two of my coworkers would actually turn in their letters of resignation that same week. And we all started talking, and all really wanted to open a practice. So we decided to jointly come together and open Catalyst. So it's been 2 years, which I cannot believe it's been 2 full years since we
Wow.
opened. First opened, we were actually just subleasing space in a school. And then we transitioned to another practice that was really kind to sublease us a few offices. And then last year, we actually found our own space, and we've been in that space for a year. But we've been open now for 2 years. And we see children, adolescents, and adults for all kind of psychiatric issues such as depressive and mood disorders, anxiety disorders, ADHD. All three of us have a background in eating disorders.
Mm-hmm.
And we're really excited because over the last year we've grown. So we had hired another therapist, Kelsey Hargrove, who's also going to be featured tonight. And she also has eating disorder experience. Yes. And then we also have two dietitians with Lutz and Alexander, who also sublease space from us. So it's really nice because we treat everyone as a team. We have a weekly team meeting where we just, get ideas from each other and make sure that we're all on the same page. Most of our patients will have at least a therapist, and for Carrie, Landry, and myself, who are both psychiatrists, we do therapy for our patients as well, but we also share patients with Kelsey and TJ Rainey, who's one of my business partners. And then some of them may need a dietitian. So it's really great because we can all work together in making sure that we're getting people what they need. So yeah, so that's a little bit about what I do.
So how is this? So I have two things that I want to say at the same time. One is that I love the fact that I always get so many people texting me and sending me messages on Instagram and Facebook and social media asking if I know any Black therapists. Yes. And in particular Black female therapists, but Black male and female therapists. And the fact that you have two and you're an owner. And by the way, y'all, even if you don't become a patient, you just need to walk through, like their office is so beautiful that I want to live there. Like, it's gorgeous. Yeah. And so, you know, I just want to give kudos to you for being able to pull that together. I mean, it really is important and groundbreaking, especially because I know so many people who are just like, where are the Black therapists? How do we find them? And I know that's not what you're all about, but I think it is an important thing to highlight and to celebrate.
Absolutely. You. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, the space in itself, I love our space. It's so nice to walk into a space that doesn't feel like, I don't know, like a hospital or a clinic. We really wanted it to feel special. We wanted it to feel like, you know, it could be anyone's home so people can actually feel comfortable. Because when folks are coming in, you know, when you don't know what to expect when you're going to see a therapist or a psychiatrist, that can just be very anxiety provoking. And, you know, when you think about going to the doctor to like put out all your business, so we just wanted it to be a space where people can feel comfortable. And in terms of, you know, serving people of color, yeah, it's been truly a blessing. You know, I would say about probably 50 to 60%, if not more, of my patients are people of color. And I see a lot of UNC students. I see, you know, a lot of parents who bring their kids in. You know, I see young adults. And, you know, for me, it's been really encouraging to see that people are just open, you know, that people are really learning that they don't have to carry the stigma associated with mental health, that they, you know, it's accessible and that it's actually beneficial. So it's just been really awesome to be able to see, you know, people in our communities seeking out services. And for me, it's just an honor to serve.
So Kelsey just joined. I'm gonna try this out and see if we could do all three at the same time.
Yeah, it's fun. Is it work?
I don't know what it looks like on Facebook. Hey Kelsey, how are you?
It's working or not?
It looks like it's working. Your sound is a little off. This out and see if we could do all three at the same time.
Yeah, it's fun.
Ooh. My sound is off.
Sorry, I think my Facebook is showing in the background.
Oh, is it?
We're gonna get this together. I appreciate y'all for your patience as we pull this together. So for people who don't know, Kelsey is an amazing woman as well, and she's a therapist in the Catalyst Therapeutics office, and she also has her own podcast, Living for Synergy. Yo, I was listening to that podcast all day today, and I was like, I'm going to sleep now. So relaxing.
I love that. Thank you so much. I'm happy that you've enjoyed it, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me and asking me to do this. So yeah, can y'all see me okay? I feel like I look like I kind of got a shadow happening.
I mean, it's like a nice chill vibe, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, I can't see your face that well.
Okay.
Yeah, if there's some way to get the light in front of you.
Yeah, let me grab some more light.
But yeah, so the other question I have while Kelsey's getting herself together is around like how has the pandemic impacted your business, and how have you had to pivot in this process?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So I would say the first week or so, probably especially the first week, the numbers were definitely a lot lower. And I think part of that was just everybody just didn't know what was going on. We were like all in a state of panic, and folks were canceling left and right, understandably so, because a lot of people didn't feel comfortable coming to the office. So we had to really make a quick decision to transition our whole practice over to telehealth. And with that, there's just, a lot of things that we had to look into, like what kind of platform to use, and, if we needed any kind of different forms, and whether or not insurance companies would cover it. So there's just a lot of, implications as a result of switching our practice over that we were kind of learning on the go. So it really was within days we had to transition. We had to make a decision to go ahead and just transition everyone. So after that first week, when everything started coming out, we went ahead and sent our emails out to the whole practice and started accepting also new patients via telehealth. And it was an adjustment. I definitely think that, there's a lot of value associated with being in the room with someone who's, pouring out their whole life story and being really vulnerable and transparent. You pick up emotion, you pick up like subtle movements in a face when you're in a room with someone. And you could literally feel emotion. But so that was something that we kind of, you lose a little bit when you're doing telepsychiatry. However, I will say that it's been such a blessing just to be able to offer that service, because so many people, even though those numbers decreased that first week, I would say things have been very busy because people are really struggling, especially for folks who are already dealing with mood disorders like depression and anxiety. We're all in a state of pandemic of anxiety in a sense, because there's so much uncertainty. So if you're already struggling with anxiety, if you're already struggling, with social isolation and feeling lonely and feeling depressed, then you can imagine what one must experience if they're having to, deal with physical distancing and, staying at home, feeling even more disconnected. So, that's been a challenge for a lot of folks, but for us, it's definitely led to us being very busy. And I thought referrals were actually going to decrease, but I'm actually seeing a constant, flow of referrals. And I think it's just because people realize that they need help, they need assistance, they need support, and we're able to provide that for folks.
Yeah. So Kelsey, how did you get involved how did you meet Erikka, and how did you get involved in the therapy?
So Erikka and I actually worked together at a inpatient facility. So we worked together at a hospital, and I was referred to the hospital is Veritas. I was referred there by a mutual friend of ours, Jatana Okoye, who's also a psychotherapist in the RDU area. And before I had an opportunity to meet Erikka, Jatana was always like, you'll have to meet Erikka. You have to meet Dr. D. She is like on and popping, basically. Like, she's goals, right? And so the first time I saw her pumping down the hallway, I was like, that must be Dr. Erikka, because fly from head to toe, hair is always done. More than that, just like goals, right? But more than like all that she is on the outside, she's just a beautiful person on the inside as well, and 100% embraced me as soon as I got there. And just like women of color working in a field of eating disorders, when it's not a lot of representation of African American women or women in color of color, period, it was just really nice to be kind of taken in, and I felt like, she kind of took me in under her wing, and I call her my big sister and my mentor all the time. And so, we met there. I had an opportunity to learn from her there. And then as we transitioned into outpatient, it just kind of seamlessly worked its way out. Like, timing was on our side. And I think everything happens for a reason. I think God was on our side in that way too. And she kind of kept saying, like, hold out for a little bit, Catalyst is opening up, we might be. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And I was working at another like outpatient place, and there was a lot that was just happening there. And as I was headed out, that opportunity was still open, and she welcomed me with open arms, and the rest of the partners over at Catalyst, the rest of the owners at Catalyst welcomed me with open arms. And it's been just 100% a blessing. Like, I can't even, every time someone asks me like, how's work going? I'm like, I love my team. I love the people that I work with. They don't feel like bosses. They feel like people that I'm just like learning from, and they genuinely want to pour into a younger therapist. And so I appreciate them.
Oh, so sweet.
I met Erikka.
Question?
Like, I met Erikka, 10 or more years ago. We had a mutual friend, Jessica, who was were y'all in the, I know, right? I heard Jessica lives in London now with her 2 kids and her husband, and in a little fabulous loft, or whatever you call those, flats, in her flat.
Oh.
A flatmate.
Right. I just love how the worlds collide, because Durham is small, and but at the same time, like, I think common spirits kind of just find each other. Mm-hmm. And I just have always enjoyed Erikka. She's like so bubbly and like smart.
Yes.
What I think also is fascinating about you two, and what I think draws me and a lot of people to you, is the fact that you also are very healthy people, right? Like, you exercise, and y'all are, and you both are, well, so Erikka, you're not a trainer per se, but you do, she does cycling classes and yoga, and Kelsey also does yoga. So can you talk a little bit about how you integrate, or what kind of how you've been able to figure out how to balance those things and integrate them into your career?
Yeah. You want me to go first, or you want to go? Okay.
Yeah, especially with the podcast thing. I'm curious about that. Oh, y'all just saw my pajamas.
Wait a minute. Yesterday with my patient by accident. I was dressed like up here, and
right.
I was like, let me teach you about some neurons. And I was like, I need to teach you about serotonin. I went to go get my paper. I was like, oh, I have my pajama pants on. But she had a bonnet on. So it was all good.
Yeah.
We had a moment. But anyways.
Listen, I like low-key, high-key got my my nightgown on under this. So this is a pajama party. So it's all good. Quarantine style. But okay, so Erikka and I we continue to have conversations just about how we're intersecting our work into psychiatry and psychotherapy. But one thing that drew me to the field in the beginning, in the first place, I was learning about therapeutic lifestyle adjustments. And one piece was talking about holistic health and wellness, and how our physical health obviously goes hand in hand with our mental health, as far as like nutrition and exercise and all of those things. And so during my master's study, while I was studying to be a therapist, again, I learned about therapeutic lifestyle adjustments, and kind of was kind of going through my own period of transition that came along with some depression. And so I decided to get more intentional about physical activity and nutrition and what I was eating, and got into yoga and meditation. And it worked for me. It was a really great stress reliever. It gave me an opportunity to become a little bit more self-aware. And again, gave me like coping mechanisms and strategies to handle my own mental health. And so from there, I was kind of like, if I'm going to provide therapy, knowing what's worked for me, how else can I integrate that into my counseling as a service? So became a yoga instructor, learned more about guided and leading meditations. And so right now in my psychotherapy practice, like in the room, I always start client. I won't say always, because some people don't necessarily, they don't really vibe with that, and that's okay. I don't press it on anybody. But I always ask, let's take a moment to think about how we're arriving to the space. Is there anything that we need to really ground down and settle into the space? Anything we need for relaxation? And a lot of times people will request or ask for, can we start off with a little mindfulness or meditation? I let my clients know in the beginning, I am a yoga instructor. I do believe in meditation as a practice. Happy to integrate that into sessions if you'd like to, but also if it's not your thing, that's okay. And so working breath work in and working, again, mindfulness into sessions, that's kind of how I've been able to integrate it into psychotherapy in the room. And I think also just like psychoeducation when it comes to physical activity and nutrition and how all of those things take an effect on our mental health.
What about you, Erikka?
Oh, goodness. So I've been, I would say, really diving into fitness maybe over the past 10 years with my girl, Leanne Yeager, kind of got me into cycling. I was never an athletic person or anybody who really loved the gym, but I kind of fell in love with cycling and have been doing that for many, many years. And when I was at that other job I told y'all about that will remain nameless, I found myself just being super duper stressed. And people would leave saying, oh, I have to go pick up my kid and I have to go do this and I have to go do that. And I was like, man, I need something to go do after work so I could say, well, I have to go do X, Y, Z. And Leanne at the time was like, oh, can you, I think you'd be great if you were to teach cycle. So I was like, maybe I'll teach a cycle class. So I actually started teaching a cycle class called Trap Cycle on Thursdays. So after that meeting at like 4 or 5 o'clock, once 5:30 would roll around, I'm like, sorry, y'all, I got to go because I have to teach a cycle class. So it's totally random. It was really for my own self-care, but I love to work out. For me, it's like medicine. It's, I feel like I get all of my natural endorphins from working out. I feel better. I feel more energetic. So that's definitely something that helps my own mental health. And how I fell into yoga was totally random. My friend who might be watching right now, Sherilyn, had invited me to her yoga class probably about 15 or more years ago. I know I've been in Durham for a minute.
Oh.
Actually, no, she invited me. That was like 18 years ago. Oh my God, I'm old. Anyway, so she invited me to this yoga class, y'all, like 18 years ago. And at the end, I was like, what did I just do? What did I just watch? Like, what just happened? I was so sore for like the rest of the week. I couldn't do half the things that the people were doing. I was like, I was not created for this. I don't have the body type for yoga. Like, I'm never doing that again. Well, fast forward and, to really 2 years ago, and there's this thing called soul yoga. And I was like, I wonder what that's about, and it seemed like it was more chill and they had a DJ. I was like, let me just see what this whole yoga thing is about again. So I went to that class and fell in love with it. So shout out to Luisha because she's the one who taught that at the time. And I just was like, this is amazing. And I was so stressed. It just really helped reduce stress in an amazing way. So I then after doing that class for a few months, then I approached my friend Cheryl and I was like, okay, after 18 years, I think I'm ready to come back to your yoga class. So I started doing yoga twice a week. And then just a few months after I started really doing it consistently, I noticed the difference just in my ability to just manage my own stress level. And I felt more at ease. I felt peaceful. It helped me start a meditation practice, which in the past, I was just like, oh, I don't know if this works along, with my own faith and Christianity. But I was like, oh, no, I could absolutely, practice my own Christianity within the setting. So for me, it was very much needed at the time. And then decided, randomly that I would teach yoga. So now I teach yoga and I'm certified and also teach cycle, and I love them both. I haven't quite figured out how to integrate it with my practice. I actually try to keep my medical practice a little bit separate, just because for me, the yoga and the cycling is just such an outlet for me. It's a stress reliever from all of the work that I do. However, I think it's really great to incorporate the mental health and everything into the yoga aspect of things. So, if there's an opportunity to teach, whether it's a workshop or something like that, I'll do things like that for yoga. But it's been a blessing for sure, and very much needed, and it helps to keep me regulated.
How did you get into bodybuilding? Tell that story.
Oh yeah, okay. So let's see, where do I start? Okay, so I started personal training. I started off as group fitness instructing first, also while getting my master's degree. Got into personal training. Enjoyed that, loved that. Kind of like Erikka said, it was an outlet, not only teaching, but also working out and exercising on my own. And so I was working at a gym in Cary and with a group of different trainers. And a friend of mine, this happened, so I competed in my first competition December of 2019. And my birthday, my 29th birthday, I said that last of my 20s, I'm like, I want this to be my strongest year yet. And so I wanted to do some sort of like competition or challenge myself in a different way. Initially, I kind of thought like maybe I'll do a CrossFit competition or something like that. That ended up not working out. And a friend of mine that I met at the gym that I was training at said to me, you should really think about competing. Like you should look into doing this competition with me. And I was like, no way, I'd never do that. They're super restricted. It's way too strict. Like I do this for fun. There's no way I'd ever do that. The more and more she kept saying like, just think about it, just think about it. So I started to educate myself, talk to other people about it. Another friend of mine that was also a trainer at the time recommended that I talk to his coach and just ask him a couple of questions about it. And so he and I connected. He is a man of faith and a Christian. And so we connected immediately off of that. I let him know some of my apprehension about competing and just my idea and perspective of the world and field of bodybuilding. And he kind of eased some of my anxiety around that, let me know that he had worked with a number of because at the time I was still heavily into my clinical training as an eating disorder practitioner. And so again, like just the conflict of being super restricted and then specializing and having so much background in eating disorders. What'd you say?
I just said, okay. Do you feel like there is kind of like a borderline between the training and eating disorders?
I think it can be, but the place that I had to come to for myself is that it doesn't have to be black and white, and it doesn't have to be like one or the other. Like just because I specialize in eating disorders and I'm heavily into fitness and nutrition and into bodybuilding doesn't automatically mean that I'm this disordered person. Like I can have both and be really self-aware and know what works best for me. But that was kind of along my journey and what I had to come to realize. Because there was a time where I didn't want anybody to know, or any of like my professional, like my colleagues to know that I was getting into bodybuilding, because I was worried about the judgment that would come from that. But again, I had to recognize for myself that it doesn't have to be black or white. And as long as I'm self-aware and taking good care of myself, then that's what matters. And doing it for, again, doing it for me. And so I said that this was going to be my strongest year and that I wanted to do some sort of competition and challenge myself. And it just so happened to be happening at the end of the year. So I kind of felt like, okay, Kelsey, like just go ahead, try it out and do it. And I loved it so much. It was so much fun. And I feel like it's definitely something where you learn so much about yourself. And I'm looking forward to continuing to grow in that field and doing more competitions.
Awesome. So,
we're so proud of Kelsey because she really put her heart and soul and proved to herself that she can do it, you know, and it's like, we all knew she could, but she did it for herself. So I'm just so proud of you.
I appreciate that.
I think it's important also because, you know, as two women who, you know, from my perspective, I see you all as like very fit and like have it together. But I think it's important that both of you saw that there was still room for improvement, and you like really, you didn't just take it, you didn't get complacent and like just take it for granted that like you work out and then you have great, you know, physical activity, and but that you're always constantly like pushing yourself and like finding ways to find balance, I guess. And that's a part of your mental health too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the balance piece is key, you know, being that both of us have such experience working with individuals with eating disorders. I think, you know, and there's such diet culture in our society. You know, you see people making comments all the time, and I know I'm guilty at some times too, you know, being super critical of ourselves and judgmental. And I think what we're trying to do is, you know, make sure that there is some balance there, that, you know, it's not about looking a certain way or being a certain way. It's okay, what are the things that you can implement so that you can actually live your best life, you know, so that you can make healthy choices, so you can have a healthy relationship between, you know, the mind and your body and the spirit and your soul, essentially. You know, and it's not about being critical of yourself or being judgmental. It's not about, you know, trying to be like this image of what we think physique needs to be. But again, it's like doing this because we know that it's actually helpful for, you know, for our brain, you know, for our mental wellness, and not going to the extreme one way or another. So like you said, the balance piece, I think, is just so critical.
Yeah. Absolutely. And being able to be, you know, raw and honest with ourselves and asking like, you know, is this in alignment with my personal self-care values, and you know, honoring my mental health. And so like Erikka mentioned, that is a way that I've kind of maintained balance and checking myself of like, Kelsey, you know, what are you doing this for? Are you doing this for you? Is this honoring self-care? And having to be honest.
So I have another question, because I'm particularly interested in the podcast side of things. Like, how did you, or why did you decide to start a podcast, and what does that, like, are you trying, what's the ultimate goal, I guess?
Yeah, so with the podcast, that had been something that I had been thinking about for a while, and wanting to.
I have an oh, that was Erikka.
I was trying to comment. somebody added. I was trying to read them, but then it.
In order to get the comments, you have to like mute on your browser, and then you can look at it. But anyway, because I'm looking at it on my phone.
I'm sure the comments. I didn't see any comments. So yeah, that had been something I had been thinking about for a little while, and wanted to offer guided meditations to folks, and just doing it on a podcast just seemed like the best route to kind of get it out to people. Initially, when I first started thinking about it, I was like, well, what would I, you know, before I decided that it would be guided meditations, I was kind of like, well, what would I talk about? What would it be about? And the more I started teaching classes and leading meditations, folks were just like, you know, I love this. I wish that I had access to this outside of just like your classes or outside of sessions or like whatever. Not really outside of sessions, but outside of classes. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna record these guided meditations, and I'm gonna figure out how to be a podcaster. And that's just kind of like how it came together, and I'm super proud of it. Like, I'm so proud of it. I love doing it. Since quarantine, I've been able to do some like live Zoom guided meditations with a small community. And I've recorded a couple of those and put those up, and have asked for, meditation requests from people. So a lot of people have asked for like nighttime sleep meditation. So that's the next that I'm gonna do, but I love it so much.
I think it's awesome. So like I listened to so many, or I had insomnia for several years from stress and dissertation, relationship drama, you name it, right? And the meditations, guided meditations at night is what helped me get through it and like be able to finally slow my brain down and finally get to sleep. And I couldn't even get to exercise or eat right or do anything else until I got my sleep, right? And so I think it's really important. And also it's important because a lot of a lot of the apps that I listen to are all white people. So there's diversity. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for people who don't know, follow Living Your Synergy. Is that what it is? Living Your Synergy.
Living for Synergy. Yep.
For Synergy. Yep. Living for Synergy. It's on Spotify, but what other platforms is it on?
It's on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and you can also just listen to it from the website. But I'm happy that you mentioned that. That was another big piece of your initial question was like, what is the overall goal? Not only just because I enjoy doing it, but because I do want to provide that resource for people of color, and just educating us all on just the practice of meditation. Because like Erikka mentioned earlier, initially she kind of, was on the fence about meditation just because of her own religious practices. And I had that same experience. Like, what is this? Like, I only believe in, one guy. Like, what is meditation? I don't know much about it. And I found that a number of people kind of have that same view. And so wanting to provide that resource to people of color and just underserved populations, because like you mentioned, most people that are leading those meditations are white or not people of color. So yeah.
Well, and also the meditations don't originate from white people, which I think is also right. Like,
yeah,
it comes from people of color. Then it was appropriated by a different community, and then now we are reclaiming it. Yeah. So
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think part of the narrative around like, well, I'm Christian, I don't meditate, is us being told that this original practice that comes from our people is not good, right? Unless it is appropriated and then retaught back to us. So, I don't know. I'm on my Black Panther thing right now. So, Mary Beth, and I'm going to wrap up the question part because I want to get to, I do this thing called What It Do, What It Don't. It's like a little fun way to get people to vote on whether something is funny or not in pop culture. So we'll get to that in a second. But, okay, so Mary Beth asks, what's one thing that you've added to your routine due to the pandemic? And then we have another question. Working out can feel like a chore sometimes. What do you suggest to help someone stay consistent?
What have I added? So one thing I have added, because it is all about balance, Krispy Kreme has been on this theme of like having different kinds of glazed donuts. and I have been determined to try all of them. And that has been very consistent throughout the whole pandemic. So they started out with the chocolate glazed donuts, and those were the bomb. And then they moved on to the strawberry glazed donuts. So I had to check those out. And then this week it's on to the key lime. The key lime's popping. They're kind of popping. It's kind of like a sourdough kind of donut.
I was like, that's a what it don't. I don't know about that one.
It actually is what it do. It's what it do. So
y'all gotta
I've incorporated into my time during the pandemic is I have been going on my own donut tastings.
Oh, yummy.
Donut tastings.
I feel like I should mention something about food now. So I'll do both. I've been like obsessed with all things curry. So I've been killing all of my curry recipes. And that is 100% some really good self-care because I love Indian food and I love spicy food, period.
Yeah.
So that's been one thing that I've been incorporating. But another piece, I've gotten really into bullet journaling, which I wanted to do for a while, but just neglected to take the time to actually do it. And so I've gotten really more intentional about my morning routine. So starting off reading, writing a little bit, and then going for a walk. I try to start my day outside. And that's been really good. So those have been things that the quarantine has afforded me the opportunity to do more of.
And in terms of the fun thing, somebody mentioned like a comment about how do you engage in exercise when it just seems like a chore. And I would highly recommend you do something that you find fun. That may not look like what other people are doing. Like some people love to run. I hate running, and you're just not going to catch me really running. Maybe tomorrow for a cause, and that's about it. But, I like trying to do fun things. So there have been a lot of choreographers who have been teaching dance routines. So I found Beyonce's dance captain, and I learned the Everybody Mad dance routine. That was fun. And jump roping, that has been my new thing. I have been taking a jump roping class, and it has like brought me back to my childhood, and it is so good to get your heart rate up. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a conventional way. Just get moving. It can literally be dancing in your kitchen to a D-Nice party. Just get up and move, get your body going, get those endorphins flowing. So it doesn't have to be conventional.
Yep. I 100% agree. Finding something fun.
Yeah. So I don't like to work out. I'm just being very transparent here, but I do because I want to stay healthy. And so I love to dance though. So I'm very finicky about my exercise too. That's part of the reason why I don't like it. So I don't like to work out in groups. I don't like people telling me what to do. I have tendonitis in my knees, and so I can't do all the jumping and all that stuff. So I like to dance. I like watching Instagram and dancing to the D-Nice stuff. I like yoga. So those are the things that work for me.
Allison can get it. She can dance. Don't sleep.
We can do that right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so Kimberly asked, do you have any advice for a new graduate as of tomorrow in the field of therapy/social work?
Yeah, congratulations. I'm gonna let Kelsey, since she's a little younger than me, just a little, go ahead and answer that.
Advice for a new graduate. Well, celebrate yourself. Number one, take a moment to celebrate yourself because you are graduating at a very interesting time. But that does not take away from your accomplishment and your dedication and all the work that you have done. I think maybe one thing that I wish someone probably would have said to me starting out is to remember that you're human, and that this is an ongoing process of learning yourself. And the people that you work with will teach you about yourself. And so while you're in the room with other people, yes, you're learning about them, but you're also learning about, you know, yourself and your responses and how you interact with other people and how you show up for yourself and how you show up for the people that you're working with. And so I think that reminder that you're human, you're not supposed to have it all figured out. And I think traditionally the everyone is always like, be boundaried, have good boundaries. Yes, have good boundaries, like professional boundaries with your clients, but also have good boundaries for yourself too. This is a field where burnout is, is pretty prevalent, but I think that can be, I think that we could, what's the word I'm looking for? I feel like we can decrease our chances of burnout if we're protecting ourselves and we're practicing good boundaries. And so all of the things that I've said, main takeaways are a reminder that you're human, that you don't have to have it all figured out, celebrate yourself and your accomplishments, have good boundaries, practice professional boundaries, but also take good care of yourself. And that this is an ongoing learning process of evolution. That's one thing that I'm super grateful for just with this field alone, like how much you get to learn about yourself.
Yeah. So I would have to also say, there go my pajamas again. We at home right now, so
yeah,
really
so I'm gonna just take my kimono and just be in my nightgown. I'm just joking.
All good. So I would also say, like, one thing that I'm learning. So this is my first like full career job. I've been in training programs and all that stuff forever. And one thing I'm learning is patience, and also finding ways to have these creative outlets. Like this interview thing for me is a creative outlet. It's fun. It's low stress. It doesn't require a lot of prep work. But you know, and it gives me that balance. And I think it helps me also get patience with people who maybe don't fully understand my perspective, and then also appreciating the fact that we come from different perspectives. And so you have to have patience with understanding what that other person is bringing to the table, and that they may not always, that's the whole point, right? Is that they're coming with their completely different experience and you're coming with yours. And so you have to be patient with each other so that you can use those as strengths. Yeah. So I would say that too. The learning process.
The other thing I would add, being new, is just being authentic. You know, you have learned the tools, you've learned how to do things, but you know, you just have to be yourself, you know. So I talk to all my patients just the way that I am. I mean, you know, I have to bring my authentic self to the room. And I think because of that, my patients, I will hope that they feel connected to me. And that is a big part of treatment is, you know, yes, it's all the services we're providing, but there's a big placebo effect, which truly is that relationship that you have with your patients. That goes a long way. If they know that you're keeping it real, you're keeping it honest with them, they sense that in the room, you know, that's going to help them become honest and open and transparent too. So just being your true, authentic self.
Mm-hmm. And I think that helps answer this other question that came in from my friend Megan about how patients can make the virtual sessions feel more personal. And I think a big part of it, especially from my experience going into therapy, I have been with therapists who I did not feel comfortable. Like I censored myself. I didn't tell them everything, and because I felt judgment from them. Yeah. But being with a therapist who was like just real with you and just like they tell you, I mean, I know part of your role is not to disclose a lot about yourselves, but even just in that authenticity, saying like, I understand where you're coming from. Here's a small example, was helpful for me because it allowed me to connect with my therapist more.
Yeah, it's all about creating a space where that person can feel completely accepted. Mm-hmm. So where there's acceptance and no judgment, you know, so feeling, you know, you want to create a space where people feel safe to fully express whatever it is that they're going through, and you want to make them feel comfortable. And sometimes that can be hard in a setting like Zoom, because it doesn't feel all that personal sometimes. But there are some creative ways that you can still make a space safe for someone, even, via Zoom or whatever, you're on Skype or whatever. And that does come through, if they know that you're fully accepting them, that you're not judging them, and that they can just totally be themselves.
So I want to thank you both for joining this awesome experiment with me. You both are inspirations. You're both beautiful women, brilliant women, and I just wish you all the best of luck. And I appreciate you joining today. I think this is important because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so definitely bring that up and raise awareness about that. And so I want y'all to stay on, because I'm about to switch gears really quick. And so the name of the game is What It Do, What It Don't.
All right.
I want you all to verbally help me out with voting on whether these things are what it do or what it don't. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, and everybody who's watching, I want you to vote what it do or what it don't. So I'm showing you right now. Yo después de ver las fotos de Adele. So she said, this is me after I saw the photos from Adele, and she's over here exercising on her little yoga mat. What do y'all think? Is that a what it do or what it don't?
I mean, hey, Adele is inspiring the people. I'm gonna say what it do.
Yeah, I'm like, if Adele is causing her to make her, feel like she's doing something for herself, and she's not doing it solely for the purpose of looking like Adele,
Right.
like she's trying to do it just for her, but she's inspired by Adele, then I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So,
if Adele can do it, then I can do it too. Then boom.
Yeah.
Well, so then the other part of that though is that Adele is like, I don't know, she's about half the size that she was before. So how do y'all feel about that?
That's Adele, the singer?
Yeah. Yes. I saw this.
Oh.
The first thing that I said was, when I saw it, I said she looks happy. And so, granted, it's a photo, it's social media, we get the highlight reel. If she's happy, hey, I'm gonna say what it do if she's happy. But yeah, that's Adele. I think we were all just like, whoa.
Okay.
Right. It doesn't
work her.
I'm like, oh wow, okay. Oh, go ahead, Allison. I couldn't hear you.
I agree. Like, I think she looks good, but she was beautiful when she was bigger too. Mm-hmm. And Samario, our trusty friend with the zinger, he says, I like thicker than a Snicker, Adele.
I mean, whatever for her. I mean, I think my hope is that it would, that she can find joy in who she is, and she can feel complete no matter what size. I think so many times, like when people sometimes lose weight, then they get a lot of positive feedback, and sometimes that can actually take in a certain kind of way, because what does that mean? I mean, why didn't we appreciate their beauty at a different size? All of us are built different ways, and I think it's important to embrace who we are no matter what size we are. So my hope is that she's not viewing herself completely differently just because she's a different size. I hope that she felt good about herself at both sizes.
I agree.
I saw this.
Okay, so I will not shop at Costco until you remove your mandatory mask rule. And then they say, okay, thank you for such a brave stand, Sharon. We look forward to the documentary they will make about you someday. Professional response, I want a refund. And they're talking about it should be a choice that said, we have chosen not to refund you. Thank you.
Costco with the comeback and the shade. I appreciate it. Listen, it is their store and they are trying to protect the customers. Has she not been watching the news? I'm all for that response.
Well, I kind of don't believe that this is real, but I think that somebody doctored this, but I still think it's hilarious, so I'm voting what it do.
What it do, because it's hilarious.
We've chosen not to refund you.
But we have a choice too. Okay, I'm gonna switch to this one. So I always have to do either a shout out to Delta or a shout out to Howard. So this one is a shout out to Howard. U.S. Air Force's first Black woman Thunderbird is a Howard grad. What do y'all think? What it do or what it don't?
What it do? 100%.
Yes, what it do? All right, Howard.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, blessings. But you know, some people like to hate.
What?
They hate on the real HU.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't. Yeah, I can't say nothing about that. But I can rep Spelman right quick. So go Spelman.
Right. HBCU love. There we go.
Oh, HBCUs. Yeah.
And weren't you like the queen or something of Central? What were you, Kelsey?
I was missing CCU for 1 year, yeah.
Yeah. She's like the official HBCU.
She is the queen HBCU.
All of us are the queens.
Was that Jet magazine where like they used to do the queen?
Mm-hmm.
Were you?
Yeah.
I was not in it that year. It was very sad. But all good. Most of the queens before me and the queen that came after me, they had the opportunity to do it. Yeah.
I would write them and be like, yo, y'all missed my year.
Right. Well, it was more so we were on this leadership retreat, like way out in the mountains. We tried to get it together, y'all, and my team at the time were amazing. Like they like came up to the mountains with like suits and crowns, and we tried to get it together and it just didn't work out. I know. But the experience overall was super fun.
Okay, good. So this is like a hack that I just learned about this week. I was today years old when I found this out. So the app on iPhones, the Notes app allows you to scan images. So you can like, I actually scanned something, just like a random thing in my apartment, and it like turned it into like a PDF.
What?
And you can send it out, like, and it has less bandwidth than a photo. So what do y'all think? What it do or what it don't?
That's what it do. I mean, that's amazing. Now, I have a scanner on my phone. It's called Free Scanner or something. So I convert stuff to PDFs all the time on that. But that is good to know.
I was going to say, that's what it do for sure.
That is an amazing hack.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's what we use, Tiny Scanner.
I was going to say Tiny Scanner was on our phones, but I deleted it. So now I could just
I didn't do a screenshot of the last one that I wanted to talk about, but so going back to HU, what's her name? What's Felicia Rashad's sister's name?
Debbie Allen.
Debbie Allen. So Debbie Allen was being interviewed about producing It's a Different World. And she said that her experience at Howard is what motivated the show and shaped the show. And so it was like some shade.
But why was it filmed then on Spelman's campus now? Why did they have Spelman's campus? Because every one of those shots of that campus, honey, was Spelman College. Let's just make it known.
Uh-oh.
So nobody, first of all, nobody knows that it was filmed on Filmless Campus, except for some.
But now they know.
And then it was also some shade at Hampton because everybody thinks it's based on Hampton, and I'm like, nah.
You think that? I've never thought that. I always thought it was based off of Howard.
That show was the best, though. Honestly, like that really played a role in me choosing an HBCU. I was like, I have to go to an HBCU. It was just, yeah. It's amazing.
Well, y'all, I appreciate you joining the show. This was fun. It was insightful. It was moving. Thank you again.
And congratulations to you, Allison.
Huh?
I said congratulations to you.
Yes, and your show.
And so thank you everybody on Facebook who has joined, and also the people who follow from Instagram to Facebook. Y'all are the real MVPs. We really appreciate y'all. Join us next week. Same time, same place. We'll be on Facebook Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. What it do?
Nice.
All right.
Bye.